Hi there everybody and welcome to the very first of a brand new set of videos going up on the channel, recorded individually by myself and James, where we'll be going through certain key players currently playing for the mighty Claret and Blue, although I am wearing the black and yellow kit this season, where we'll be talking about the players themselves, how they've changed under Emery, or maybe just documenting how they're playing currently. There's very topical players going on at the moment, and as you saw from our Keep Alone Sell video, there's going to be some players that maybe won't be sticking around too long, and we'll be looking at why, and some players will probably want to be keeping on to the long haul. This week, as you could tell by the title, I've gone for one of my personal favourites in the team, Emiliano Martínez, debut to some. Now, it's a strange topic, this one, because there are a section of the fans, maybe some of you watching, who have thought that maybe this summer might be the time to cash in on what could be deemed a cash cow in Emiliano Martínez this year. Voted FIFA Best Men's Pros Goalkeeper of the Year most recently, World Cup winner, Golden Glove winner, and currently our top Premier League clean sheet keeper after 100 appearances, after bagging his 34th, I believe, against Chelsea on Saturday night. Takes up to 8 this season. Now, I think if we're all going to be a bit honest, Emmy was a bit unlucky at the start of the season in that his manager, he who shall not be named, was not one known for setting up a defensive unit, and a back four that was sort of hampered as well by the strange decision to rob Tyrone Mings of his captaincy and his starting place in the lineup at the same time. Not really the topic of the conversation today, but it's got to be noted that Emmy has dealt with, should we say, a little bit of hardship at the start of the season. Doesn't account for some of the mistakes he's made. I think we can all agree that Leicester under Emery was a notable game where Emery wasn't on his exactly bright light, and of course he was signalled outside of the Arsenal loss as well, 4-2 at home, where his time wasting was not so fondly approved by Unai Emery, if we can be so honest. But at the end of the day, I don't think we've ever been in a position where we can say we've got the best goalkeeper in the world and actually have it backed up, not just on stats, but actually globally voted as well. And there has been rumours, and from Juventus and or Tottenham, that they'll be looking at snatching Emery from our hands. Now, it's a chat I've got into a lot on Twitter, and especially because it came out after, I believe it was after the World Cup, and a few people were talking to me saying, whilst we love Emmy and he is clearly superior to what we've had for so long, it's clearly notable that Unai wants a goalkeeper that can play with his feet brilliantly and is going to play out from the back inch perfect each time. And if we're going to be perfectly honest, Martinez wasn't that when Emmy came back from the World Cup. He clearly wasn't the stellar goalkeeper that he was looking for in terms of that in his game. But from what I've seen of recent, I think he's shown that he can grow. And sure, he's not the youngest goalkeeper in the world, but we do have to remember that whilst some may deem this as prime years, goalkeepers do go on for a bit few younger years than even the centre backs have knew. So we've got to keep that into account, especially when we're looking at Unai, his decision in the summer, because whilst you can sit back and say, look, we've got arguably a goalkeeper whose stock will never be higher in the league, are we actually sure that it's the right decision to move him on? I mean, I've been sat here for about 2-3 days now looking through the candidates of who we could get, and there's nobody who I think we can get at this current stage who's going to be better. And I don't see why we need to lump ourselves with the task of finding not only a better second choice goalkeeper, but a suitable first choice goalkeeper on top of the other issues we've got in the squad at the moment of time. Now, if we're going to just look at the basic line with Martinez, we first of all, of course, we've got to look at the stats. Now, if we're going to look at this obviously you're going to see me looking aside because it's not like I've got these tied up into my brain. But, we're going to be talking about the time wasting. Now, what, he's collected 5 yellow cards so far this season. Amazingly, he didn't feel the need to do so on Saturday against Chelsea. I'm not sure why, but he was sort of calm in the sense that I never really remember him holding on to the ball much longer than he needed to at all. On top of this, not only that, he's obviously got the record for the most amount of clean sheets in 100 appearances for Aston Villa Football Club in the Premier League. Has to be spoken about. And whilst people keep going on about this idea that he's not exactly the best passer up from the back, 72.9% in the Premier League is his pass accuracy, not anything to be laughed at. And you do have to remember, I think, if we're going to talk about this season in particular, so many of our players couldn't make a sideways pass, and we're making the most unbelievable mistakes on the ball. And it has to be spoken about because if we're gonna sort of go along with the idea that we need to have this team that's ideally perfect in each and every single manner, which of course I'm not turning my nose up at, please. We've got to remember that you've got to take a little bit of rough with the good, and with Emmy, there's certainly a lot of rough. I mean, he's a player we love to have and everyone hates to love, and a lot of people love to hate. So it's a funny one to say that to the least. And now we're gonna obviously have to mention the fact, as I already have, he's a World Cup winner, Golden Glove winner, FIFA Best Men's Keeper Award winner, and for a goalkeeper, and whilst the so-called Emi Martinez rule comes into play in July, he is obviously renowned for his penalty saving as well. He has saved one in the Premier League this season, and he also obviously saved two against the Netherlands in the shootout in the World Cup as well. Now, I don't want to just look at the stats. I do want to look at what I dub the eye test. Now, Emmy has this tendency to sort of leave it to the third corner to run out and grab the ball, but when he does, he never mishandles it, from my memory at least. Always grabs the ball and then sort of isn't so quick to just launch it, but isn't so quick to just stay down endlessly if there is a chance. He's very aware of what's around him, and is it that sort of air of confidence you get from him where as soon as he comes out off of his line and there's a ball to be won, he'll probably win it. And that's what he does. And just remembering the 3-0 win against Bournemouth, the save he makes on Billings' free kick. Okay, maybe it could be seen as a bit of a showstopper camera one, but I mean, most keepers would step across to their left and get left dumbfounded by that. It goes top corner, and we're on for a bit of a tricky end of the game. We don't have that with him. It's so rare he makes a game-changing mistake. And again, can we really talk about the Arsenal one? The own goal's not his fault. It's pure luck. Of course, I mentioned an offside, but I don't really think that's holding up in court, to say the least. And yeah, his decision making outside of actual game making saves, time wasting, running up the under end of the pitch to score a goal, it's up for debate, and it's clearly one that Emery's had a chat with him, and one that's going to be changing. So I don't like the idea of selling a player that so clearly has the area to grow, despite the fact he's already one of the best keepers around at the moment, as is backed up. And it's so great that we can say that. And I think we get so caught up as Villa fans sometimes that, oh, there's a player who's really great. How are we going to get the money for him? Because he's obviously going to leave. I don't think that's the case anymore. And of course, we've had the obvious of Jack Grealish, Fabian Delph, and the words of wisdom that they disperse upon us that they're going to stay with us and love the club. Emery's obviously keen to have players that not just love the club but are actually capable of playing at the top level for us. And I don't see anyone out there right now that we could get that matches that Emi Martinez does. Now, he's obviously come out and said that he wants to win the Champions League. That is his next goal, and he would love to win it with Villa. But obviously, we are in a transitional phase at the moment. Very honest, very open by him. Obviously, it's probably been misquoted a bit. You only get the short snapshots at some that you might see. But what I do think is what it means is we have a player that has high aspirations and ones we should meet, because at the end of the day, we're a club that can meet those in the not so too long future. But maybe it's right now. I mean, we're not so far off Europe as it stands today on the 3rd of April as I'm recording this. You know, sitting in ninth, only 4 points off. It's not completely out of reach. So I think if we're going to become the club that we want to be, you have to have these players around you, and you have to have these players in your club. Now, we're not going to be so silly and pretend like it's not even an option that he gets sold. For me, it's not, but obviously football's a business to many, and he is one that is definitely going to cause a large sum of profit if he was to be sold. We got him for 16 million from Arsenal, and I'd be shocked if the club let him go anywhere near under triple that, especially in the current climate, especially with what he's won, especially with what he is to the club. He's vice captain, he's clearly outspoken, he's clearly a leader in that team. And I think you need that if you're ever going to grow as a team. You need to have your leaders. You need to keep your best players. But of course, if it does happen, we do have to open up to the fact that it would be an extremely sizable profit margin for the club, and that's already a benefit as well. And whilst this is about the player and this is about what he brings for us, it could bring a lot of money for us. And it's the same as if you were to talk about an academy player being sold. It's what we did with Grealish. While it was so painful seeing him leave, it was £100 million actual profit, which is ridiculous. So a lot of clubs have got to look at this, especially us as well. And yeah, I think it is a case of us meeting his demands and him meeting our demands. It's a lot of quid pro quo in the league with us at the moment, and there's a lot of players that can sort of have to match up to that. And whilst I think Emiliano Martínez is not above any criticism and he's made his mistakes, and I think they'll probably keep him up more than they keep us up, I think it's clear to see that he's arguably one of the best keepers we've ever had and could go down as one of our best ever goalkeepers, if not the best, should he lead us on to the things he wants to lead us to. And I think it's a partnership, him and Unai Emery, that I want to see more and I want to see for a long time. And I want to see it. You have these players, you don't get them often, where they're great as football players and they seem to be great blokes as well. And he's no different to that. And you just want to see these guys winning trophies for your club. Too much have we had players that we love. First one that comes to my mind is Andreas Weimann. You love these guys and they're sort of cult heroes, but they don't reach the limits you want them to. We've got that chance now, and I think we should take it. So that's my thoughts on the situation. We should be keeping him at all lengths. He's probably going to be top 3 players in terms of our spine for the foreseeable if we can keep him. And I don't see any reason why not. And whilst he's growing, I think the best manager for him is Unai Emery, because all he's missing from his game is a quieting down on his temperament, smarter gameplay decisions, and a better way of passing out from the back. He can do that, and I believe that Emery's the coach that can do it for him. And that's that really in terms of Emiliano Martínez. Now, if there's any other players you want to see us have these little pieces about, sort of our little opinion pieces, more so rather than just an in-depth statistical analysis, then do pop a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the ones you want to hear about. And there's so many. I think I could probably speak for half an hour about Leon Bailey, Jean Duran, Cameron Archer. And I know for a fact, if you want to hear about some of the young guns, then James will be more than happy to go through those. As always, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We're constantly branching out in terms of upcoming live streams, match reactions, further podcasts, guests coming on as well, whether that be for podcasts and or match reactions. And of course, keep the notifications on because who knows when we're going to record, eh? And until next time, up the Villa.